My name is Marcus Russell. This is the Marcus Russell Show. Yo, I want to dedicate this video to one of my viewers who commented in one of my videos. She said, "You are the only YouTuber that I actually look for daily." She said, "In this day and time, you and your infectious giggles make a difference in this 60-year-old white girl's life. I'm a felon, recovering drug addict. This is day 11, or nah, 11 years clean and sober. Godspeed," with the love sign on it. Yo, thank you. I appreciate. See, look, I just became like I understand the struggle and the transition. You know what I'm saying? So I love that I get to do this because this my show ain't for everybody. It's for people like us. I just became a black man like 8 years ago. I'm 45, but I just became a black man like 45 years ago. Before that, I was a YN, and then after I was a YN, I was just a hard R. For real. Even after I got shot, I was still a straight hard R, straight up, and a bad R. One of them, yeah. Until my parents passed away, I think that made me step it up and realize, you know, you're not a man until you really have a mortgage. I still ain't even a man yet, but at least I don't consider myself none of them YNs, Ns, or hard R's. I'm now a man, and some people, if you just give them the opportunity to be great, eventually they'll make it to where they're going with the right support. And the right people behind them and people cheering them on like how she cheered me on. And White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, he's one of these guys. Look, he's exactly the by the books, no nonsense, you better be precise type of prick that he comes off to be. They even call him the brain. And not because you can literally see his brain by looking at him, but because within the 10 years that he's been working for Trump, he's done everything from write speeches, notably Trump's 2016 Republican National Convention speech that basically got him in. He's been head of Trump's economic policy team. Once Trumpito was elected for the first time, Miller became the director of national policies, and some say he even penned the 2.0 of the immigration and deportation program. For real, the same ones that Trumpito is currently exercising. Yeah, so he graduated from Duke University. He used to work for Jeff Sessions, and then this little slithery chief of staff, yo, he give me straight Sheldon from Big Bang Theory vibes, like Bazinga. It's that bald headed. Anyway, my point is that he is the perfect person for these CNN news anchors to question about baby mama beating, border jumping, human trafficking gangbanger Kilmar Garcia. Because although he can literally explain in detail the profit margins for the U.S. tariffs, the guarantees on business that it can provide, he can give you the details on new executive passes laws passed on women's and religious protections rights. And by religious, I mean Christians, and by women's, I mean women's that God made women's. But yeah, he has all the details America needs to hear. But rather than asking them any of those questions, they would rather hear about what's going on with this gangbanger. So yeah, he was like, "Bazinga, you simpleton." Matter of fact, yo, let me just play the video. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe video, that like and subscribe button. Let's get right to it.
And then one on Abrego Garcia, please. The administration is reportedly inquiring about his return. Is that to check a box for compliance, or does President Trump want him back on U.S. soil, or both?
So, as Secretary Rubio said yesterday in the cabinet meeting, this administration is not going to publicly discuss the inside details of our foreign policy and negotiations with a foreign country. And in particular, we are not going to allow a district court judge to try to become the Secretary of State. Secretary Rubio is the one who, under his leadership and direction at the State Department, is managing the day-to-day relationship with El Salvador. Let's just take a moment, number one, to express our gratitude to El Salvador for
Thank them first.
agreeing to take some of the most dangerous terrorists off of America's streets and to put them into a safe environment where they cannot continue to engage in acts of terrorism or coordination with the Maduro regime. You may have seen recently an FBI assessment that was unclassified that said that the Maduro regime is using and planning to use Trinidad terrorists to carry out assassination plots on American soil. Now, very few in this room covered that. I'll let you all ask
Right.
yourselves why you didn't cover it and why your editors
Why
didn't
didn't
assign
you?
that story to you. Something I think you should think about on your own. But
That
this is
part.
a earth-shattering piece of news. The Biden administration imported a terrorist army that our own FBI assesses is planning assassination strikes on American soil against critics of the Maduro regime.
The
Those are the
terrorists.
terrorists that President Trump is finding and apprehending that our Democrat judges and Democrat activists are trying to keep on U.S. soil. Trinidad has the same legal status as Al Qaeda and ISIS. MS-13 has the same legal status as Al Qaeda and ISIS. These are foreign terrorists operating on our soil. And our gratitude to El Salvador for agreeing to take custody of these terrorists is immense. With respect to the case that you mentioned, there's now even been more evidence that has been made public of this person's
Get her.
violent, repeated threats and assaults against his spouse. Someone who
He beating her up.
had repeated, documented human trafficking and human smuggling offenses. Somebody
He
that
got him
has
on tape.
extensively documented membership in MS-13, a terrorist organization, and of course he
got
had
the
MS-13 tattooed on his knuckles. This is
On
a
his
person
fingers,
that was a clear and present danger to the safety of the American people. And it is
What's the problem?
it is a sad reflection on the state of our media and many of the outlets represented in this room that
That
you
part.
obsessively
Even
try
asked me about this
to
thing.
shill for this MS-13 terrorist. Well,
What's
no
wrong with you?
coverage occurred in your papers about any of the Americans that were raped and tortured and murdered by the illegals that Biden was importing into our country. You know, you talk about due process. The Biden administration made the decision to give extensive due process to two Trinidad terrorists that were apprehended at the border just a couple years ago. They were two gentlemen. They were from Venezuela. They were members of Trinidad. The Biden administration Border Patrol apprehended them and made the decision to provide them with extensive due process, put them onto a program known as supervised release, and put them on ankle monitors so that they could go through a lengthy legal, judicial determination as to whether these legal aliens who had just set foot on U.S. soil might want to live in the United States for the rest of their lives. What was the result of that decision? What was the result of that choice that was made? Those two men kidnapped a young girl named Jocelyn Nungaray from her family. They beat her, they sexually assaulted her, they tortured her, they stripped her, they murdered her, and they dumped her body. That is what the Biden administration's policy was. Most of your papers never covered her story when it happened. To the extent that you covered it at all, it was because President Trump forced you to cover it by highlighting it repeatedly over and over again. He had to shame you into covering it. And each and every one of you that sides over and over again with these MS-13 terrorists, to the extent that you have the financial means to do so, you all choose to live in condos or homes or houses as far away from these kinds of gangbangers as you possibly can. If I offered any one of you a rent-free home with no taxes to pay in any of these gang neighborhoods, and I said your neighbors are MS-13 terrorists or Mexican mafia or Sinaloa cartel or Trinidad, I couldn't pay you to live there. But yet you, with your coverage, are trying to force innocent Americans to have these people as their neighbors, and that one day their daughter may be abducted from their home and raped and murdered.
Oh,
So
my
you're not going to get an ounce of sympathy from this administration or President Trump for the terrorists who've invaded our homes and our country.
Whew. That's what they was like in the newsroom after he. For real, but yeah, you heard him. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been saying for weeks. These Democrats is MS-13s. That's the only reasonable explanation why they have been flying to El Salvador, bringing Garcia margaritas, and trying repeatedly to resmuggle him back into this country. Like you said, he already was deported twice by two other judges. You know what I'm saying? He got several incidents where he be just beating, body choke slamming his baby mama in the grocery store. Y'all got him on tape importing 8 more gangbangers, 9 including himself, in a Toyota Camry. What does this guy have to do to get? His name is Kilmore. What does he have to do to get deported? I swear to God. Like I said, meanwhile, I can't drive around America by myself after sundown without being scared to death. This damn alien, he can speed cross country with 8 other aliens in the back seat of the Camry. That's how good it is to not be black in America. You heard him, yo. It's pissing me off. It made him so mad. It's making me mad. But that's what he said. He said, from now on, it's our policy. We not discussing what we doing with these other countries when it comes to when we getting rid of these doggone aliens. You know what I'm saying? Look, we ain't talking about it with news media. We ain't talking about it with the United Kingdom. We not talking about it with Whoopi Goldberg, charcoal predator looking on the View. No district attorney judge about to tell us nothing. Period. About how we handle it. And then he said, and then secondly, Marco Coleono Rubio, he is in charge of that now. And he told me to remind you, unless you want a new pair of concrete shoes and to go on a fishing trip to the Manhattan River, to keep any of the family's business out of your left wing media mouths. Yo, he also was like, instead of asking me about one goddamn gangbanger, we need to be thanking El Salvador for taking all these scumbags off our hands for the free. You know what I'm saying? Golly, for real, yo. This is such a messed up world we live in because I feel sorry for anybody that I understand why people join gangs. They be in messed up situations in their life. Their life is horrible. Them El Salvadorians, and they was trying to escape it and get a better life. Um, my number one advice to people who are in the streets or in gangs: do not give your gang a name. You know what I'm saying? Just try to remain anonymous. That means without identification of the source. Don't have a gang sign, a symbol, or a name. Just be together. Why y'all gotta call yourself something? People always want to call themselves something. That's the number one problem that you know you're not going to be a successful gang with longevity if you're a gang with a name. What- I don't know nothing. Don't ask me. I'm just saying. But I know y'all feel safe because all these judges and senators are in y'all gang, MS-13. But like they you see they can't get Kilmore back. So as much as they have great benefits and you can get caught deporting and you can beat your mom, baby mama up if you in the gang, speed across the country and they'll try to come get you. But still, like, don't stop calling yourself stuff. And no more tattoos. That's how you go. Yo, I'm gonna end it right there, man. I'll be liking Stephen Miller. He's definitely in the background doing his thing. So keep your eyes up for him. He's going for a security advisor next, moving on up. So just think he started from Jeff Sessions in the backs to writing speeches. Now look at him. You know what I'm saying? The brain. My name is Marcus Russell. This is the Marcus Russell Show. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Until next time, peace.